I will call this meeting of the Webster School Committee to order and ask that we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the June 13th, 2023 meeting and the August 20th, 2023 meeting. Is there any discussion about those minutes?
So moved.
No discussion and a motion to approve them. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Lori, would you please poll the committee?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, motion passes. The next item on the agenda is the superintendent's report. Good evening, Mrs. Prangeli.
Good evening, thank you. And it's official, we're in. School's opened and we're underway, and it's very exciting. We had a great school opening. The year kicked off on August 28th with 3 days of professional development with our staff. It was a different approach to the school year this year. We did something a little different. We were trying to accommodate staff needs, getting some feedback, and working our professional development off of that feedback. At the end of last year, I had been meeting with the unions regularly, and we were trying to really talk about how can we ease into a new school year, what's their preferred method, what do they like about what we've done in the past, what's worked, what hasn't worked. And some of the feedback that I received from them is that they felt like coming into school and kicking off with professional development right away on day one, and then setting up their classrooms on the last day, they really couldn't focus on the professional development because that anxiety of setting up the rooms, making sure we have all our ducks in a row and everything ready, was weighing on them, and they wanted the time. So we worked it out this year that our opening day, we had just a short convocation, an hour. It was a welcoming back. That welcome back focused on what our goal is for the year. My goal for the year is to work on simplifying. Let's work smarter, not harder. We've had a lot of things going on over the past few years. We kind of feel like since we've come back from COVID, we hit the ground running hard, and we really haven't had a moment to kind of just step back and focus and digest the work that we're doing and really target the work that we're doing. And that's what we're trying to do this year, is really focus and simplify the work. So we talked about what that would look like for us and how we're going to prioritize that work. We talked about what it is to be a part of the school community. We're all equal team members here in Webster. There's every position is just as important as the other. There's no one more important than the other. It takes all of us working together for us to be successful. So we focused and we talked about that, and we talked about having trust in each other, having trust in the resources, having trust in the process. We're all here working towards a common goal, and we need to start trusting in. We're resource rich here in Webster. We've benefited so much over the past few years from all the federal funding that we have. We really don't want for anything in the district. And it's time that we really start to focus and trust the resources that we have so we can see progress and move forward. So we did that talk in the morning for an hour. Then the building principals had some times. Everybody got to go back to their buildings. They had some time with them to talk about what's going on in their buildings, and then they had the entire afternoon to set up their classrooms. So that was day one, taking care of the maintenance stuff that we need to take care of at the building level, letting them set up their classrooms. And then the other 2 days, we were able to focus on the professional development at hand and the work that we're doing, prepping for the new school year. And I'm happy to say that was very well received. It's going to be a model for years to come. Pleased about that, and we'll tweak anything that we need to tweak. We're going to get more feedback. We asked for feedback after opening day, but everything seemed to go off, and we seem to be starting the year in a positive attitude. So I'm happy about that, and I just want to thank them for their collaboration and their participation in making that happen. On the last day, we did have a guest speaker, Michael Bonner, who came and he spoke about changing mindsets. One of my favorite quotes that I used, and I hope to continue using throughout the year, is progress is impossible without change, And those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything. We have to start changing our mindset. Things have changed. Education has changed. Our kids have changed. Technology has changed. And we've got to be able to adapt and change with that in order to progress forward. So I'm looking forward to that. Like anybody, like students, the start of the school year can bring anxiety, although I'm sure you were excited to come back. You weren't nervous at all, right? No? I do want to give a special shout out to the high school because it's difficult on any time coming back and getting into that routine. Coming back with a whole new process at the high school, having modulars, setting up new classrooms, different schedule. There was a lot of adjustments on the first day. We had a couple of little hiccups with some moves in the modulars. It's going to happen. Those things are going to continue to happen. We've just begun our project. We're just getting started. The modulars, we had our occupancy the day before school started. We ended up getting that on Wednesday. Movers were supposed to be here the Tuesday before. There were some things that still needed to be completed as part of the project. Those weren't completed until Friday, so the movers were here on Friday. They came, they moved all the furniture in and have everything set up. And so we were all excited for our teachers to come in on Monday and get in their classrooms. And then when they got in their classrooms, we realized that the numbers were set up differently than we originally thought, so they put a lot of the items in rooms that weren't the people's rooms. So we had to navigate really quickly. The custodians jumped in. They were within an hour, I think it was completely resolved and people had their stuff. And you wouldn't know it. The teachers were ready for school the next day. So we are enjoying the modulars. We are going through. And I just want to give the staff at Bartlett a shout out for their cooperation and their willingness to adapt and go with the flow on the opening day. And I want to thank everybody for a successful school opening. I'm really thankful. Are there any questions about the school opening? No. I did want to touch base on the traffic pattern that is working well. I know Mr. Collins is going to talk a little bit about that also, but we had all hands on deck. The police were here, and we're navigating, and the first day was a bit busy and crazy. People trying to go the wrong way a little bit, not too often. But if you come in now, you're going to see that for the most part, the traffic pattern is working great. It's working much better for the middle school. The only thing that I will ask publicly, I will ask parents, is I know nobody likes to wait in line and nobody likes to go through the pickup line, but we have a lot of parents now who are trying to park along the side of the road here so they don't have to go through a line process waiting for kids that, you know, this afternoon it was backing up traffic out on the road, so I went out there and asked them to move. But just to follow the process, it doesn't take long. It continues to move quickly. Within 5-10 minutes, it's empty. So it's not like it's a long line or waiting, and I would just ask them to cooperate with us and work with us in that. But other than that, not too much else on the school opening. Questions? No? Okay. I'll move on. The next item I have is a personnel update. So I would like to start out tonight recognizing somebody here in Webster who retired in August. Miss Betty Haywish is here. I don't know if, Betty, you want to come up and sit in the chair. So Betty is a longtime employee of Webster. She retired from the Bartlett High School cafeteria as the manager in August. She started with the district in 1992. She was a sub in the cafeteria at Park Ave Elementary. She then made it to be an assistant cook at Park Ave, and she went over to the Sitkowski School for a period of time, when that was a school before it was the homes. And then she ended up coming over here at Bartlett High School as the cook. She worked as the cook from 1999 to 2016, when she was then appointed the cafeteria manager at Bartlett High School. I can only imagine the number of meals and mouths you fed over the time, the number of students and relationships you built. You know, I think back to my high school, and one of the people that are important in my life was the cafeteria worker. She was the one person who kind of checked in on me and knew that I was doing okay and would check in. in a quiet way, and it was just always somebody I look forward to seeing. I said it on day one to the entire staff here. There is no one person more important than the other. We're all in this room. We all play a role in for our kids every day, and I mean that. We're all pieces of the puzzle. If some of us are not doing our job, others are picking up, and we all fit to make this a school community. So I cannot thank you enough for all your years of service to Webster. You've got, what, 30 years in? Here, if you more than 30, if you take into account the subbing years, more than 31. Gosh, just doing the math on the number of students and the number of kids that have come through you.
Miss the kids, not the job.
Yeah, it's hard work. People, it's hard work being on your feet and hustling and getting those meals ready. And there's a lot of adjustments and over time with the regulations. And to do that with a smile and appreciation and take pride in your work, it is so much appreciated. So I can't thank you enough. I'm not sure if you're aware, but we did start. We did start with the plaques this year. So we did have Betty's name engraved on the plaque. So you'll see one hanging out there, and this is going to hang in every building throughout the school, and it has the year that you've retired. And then just a little something. Ooh, I went rogue. I just wanted to give you a little something to say thank you. And thank you. And just know how much you're appreciated. Everything you've done is extremely appreciated. And I just wanted to say thank you so much. Do you want to put that down so you can say something?
It's been my pleasure. 31 years.
Maybe you can sing a little song.
No, thanks. Like I said, I will miss the kids, but I don't regret the 31 years at all. I enjoyed my time here, busy, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Thank you again.
Well, very well deserved. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You really deserve it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Everything. Thank you. Congratulations. About coming. It takes a village, right? So we're lucky to have so many dedicated people here in Webster. So the next exciting news I have is the person sitting to my right. I am very happy to not to have to wear two hats anymore. I would like to welcome Lisa Contos, who is our new business manager. It was her first official day. I am very excited to have her on board. She is a Webster resident. She's very committed to the community. She has an excellent background. She's already jumping in, attending meetings, picking up things. She's going to be a great asset to the school community. And I'm just really happy to have somebody who's so invested in the work that we do here. So I just wanted to welcome you, and I look so forward to working with you.
Really happy to be here. I think you said it really well. Having been born and raised here, coming into this building today felt very familiar, not because I come here to attend meetings periodically, but walking back into the high school that I once went to is close enough and not loud enough. Sorry. It was really very comforting today, seeing a lot of familiar faces and being able to take my experience and my background and apply it in this setting is extremely exciting for me, and I think it'll be very rewarding, and I'm really happy to be part of the team, and I couldn't agree with you more. Every job is valuable, and we all do our part, and if we do it well and work together as a team, that's how we'll advance the mission of the school. So really happy to be here.
Thank you.
And I just want to welcome you, Lisa, on behalf of the school committee. We're happy to have you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Next, for personnel updates, I just have a couple of resignations. We had Julie O'Connor from Butler High School Biology resign, Samantha Chase of BCBA resign, And Colleen Piasta from the business office will be now working at the town hall in the treasurer's office. So she's staying with the Webster community, just working downtown. I'm not going to go through the lengthy list that's in there unless you want me to read name by name. I'm happy to do it. But as you can see, all the positions, and we still have some vacant positions that we're working on, that were posted, that we're trying to fill. We're doing our best to work around those. Do we have any other questions about personnel? No? Okay, moving on. Under family and community engagement update, just a couple things. I was going to have Dr. Mackay here to present a family engagement survey they went on. She couldn't be here tonight, so I'm going to pass over that. But I will move on to the next item. I am looking to put together a family and community engagement committee. And I have listed what I would like that committee to be made up of. We've talked with, as a leadership team, with the DLT, and I have had some discussions with the town administrator and the town library. They are looking to get involved, and we're all trying to work to really increase our community, not just within our school, but within our community as a whole, and just build some relationships. So we're hoping that this committee can collaborate together to figure out ways to reach additional audiences out in the community, to increase involvement, not only in our school community, but in our town. I would love it if there would be representation from the school committee on that. You know, I'm thinking, though, it might have to be somebody possibly retired, maybe, because if we have the meetings during the day or in the afternoon to accommodate some of the staff, unless we could get somebody to come during the day, we might want some participation to have meetings, because it's a little easier to get everybody together in an afternoon when they're working versus that evening. But it's open to whoever feels like they could be willing to participate. I'm hoping the meetings will start in September, maybe the end of September, early October, and they'll meet once a month. And I'll be reaching out to, as I said, stakeholders within the community to see if there's a way that we can come together to collaborate to increase participations, not only in our school, but in our town. So I don't know if I have any volunteers from the school committee who would be willing to participate in this committee. If you're willing, you could just reach out or give me a shout out.
I don't know why you're looking in this direction. I wouldn't mind at all. It depends on when the meetings are.
Okay,
If you can work around me a little bit.
we will do our best.
Work around you. Usually before noontime, I have a commitment on Wednesdays. Other than that, afternoon, I'd be okay.
Okay. I can do that.
Mrs. Prangelli, do you need a nomination, or is this just
It was
informal?
just an informal,
voluntary?
voluntary, and like I said, we can have more than one if there's an interest to be more than one. We just can't have a quorum.
Yep.
So I welcome participation. I'm open to ideas, and I'm open to feedback. We're looking for different minds to engage our community members. That's what we want, engagement, not in our schools. We want to increase participation, but we also want to offer the town resources that we have that many community members might not be aware of or don't know how to get involved. So it's a way to increase our participation.
Sounds great.
All right. And I will let you know when I start having those meetings. Next item I have is the instructional leadership update. So the central office team here will be meeting with SUS on September 14th. As you know, we have our instructional priority that we sent in as part of our grants and part of our status here in Webster. SUS is our state support team. They worked with us in developing that priority. Once we submit that, they review it, they talk about it with their teams back at the state, and then they come back and give us feedback. So we will be meeting with them on September 14th, tomorrow, to review that feedback and address address any issues or concerns they have and really define how we can target that. And then we'll bring that back to our DLT, a district leadership team. We also have our tier focus monitoring review. So we had our kickoff meeting this week on Monday, yesterday. That's going to be happening this year. They are focusing on, we are in the Part B review, which is focusing on civil rights and special education. So we talked about what the schedule will look like for the upcoming year. We have another meeting scheduled for Wednesday, September 28th with our district leadership team. We had to submit in a self-assessment, which we did. They review it. They're going to come back with their feedback on that self-assessment on September 28th to review any comments they have on it. And then they will be on site the week of December 11th to do their review internally. So we're going to have a series of benchmarks that we need to hit. We're going to be doing some advertising online. We're going to be, that we're having this, we're going to be getting parent feedback from special ed. So we'll be working through that. But we met with Mr. Michael McDonald, who's going to be our point person on it. He was very supportive, was pleased, actually he gave us some positive feedback on some of the items that he read and liked how we were forward thinking with our processes here in Webster. So we look forward to his feedback, and of course we'll bring more information to you, and if there's any concerns, we're going to work on them. That's what these reviews are for. They're for coming and pointing. It's all about learning and improving our practices. So that's what we're going to be looking at. Is there any questions about that? No? Okay. Moving on, in other updates, I just have a couple things. I put in enrollment update for you in the packet. These are very early numbers. As you know, our numbers for our Chapter 70 are as October 1st. So these are preliminary numbers. These are changing by the minute. You can see that right now it's showing our enrollment is up, but again, that's changing by the minute. Schools are looking at their enrollments, making sure they don't have, if they had any kids that were registered that didn't come in, who maybe started school, cleaning up. Students that might have left, we're cleaning those up. We still have enrollments coming in. Our central registrar, Desiree, is still enrolling students as we speak. So some may be included in these numbers and others may not. So it's changing constantly. But we should have a good handle on it very soon. And then once we hit October 1, you're going to see those are our solid numbers. The one numbers that I did want to point out was the out-of-district numbers. If you compare last year to this year, last year in October we had 37. We ended the year with 5 increase at 42, and then we started this year with 49. We've had some students that were placed out at the end of the year, and then we've had some move-ins. We're getting a lot of special education move-ins. So that number is always fluid. We're working on that. But if you remember last year, our total tuition for special ed was about $3 million. It was just over the $3 million mark. That's the first time we hit that for our district tuition. So that's an area we always watch in the business office. We monitor it closely. We work closely with special ed. We will continue to do that. Right now, there's nothing crazy going on. We have budgeted for what we have, but it's an area that we will always keep an eye on as we move forward. The next item, I'm going to skip over the summer programming because we're going to do that next time. Our school calendar update, I just wanted to make a correction just to point out something for you on our 23-24. We don't need to vote on it. On the terms on the bottom of the calendar, it was listed a date of April 2nd. It should have been April 5th. The actual number of days was correct. It was just a typo in there. It should have been April 5th. So we've made that change and we've corrected it already. I just wanted to point that out to you that the term at the bottom has changed from April 2nd. It should be April 5th. And then the last thing that I have under my other is just one quick note. As you know, I didn't have this in my notes, but as you know, we're always receiving donations throughout from members of the community. And I always like to show what their donations have meant for us. This is at Park Ave. If you remember, last year we had the Elks of Auburn come in and give us a donation, a $5,000 donation. It was also supplemented by our Global Montello Group, the car wash in Webster here. They usually give money to Park Ave. This cost about $6,000. It's a book vending machine that we have for Park Ave that's over there. It's part of their PBIS programming. So the kids, for certain behaviors, will earn so many tickets, which then they can get coins. And the coins will be used so that they can purchase books to take home. So I just wanted to give a big thank you. I emailed the Elks of Auburn and Global, sent them the picture and sent them a thank you for this. But the kids are really loving it. It's pretty cool to see. And I'm really happy that we could do it. These outside donations help us so much. And it's very much appreciated. So I just wanted to share that. I thought that was a pretty great idea. And that concludes the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mrs. Perangeli. Are there any questions from the committee?
Through the chair,
Ms. Millett?
can you update anybody who hears this on the library at Park Ave and what's going on, that we're actually going to have?
We have a library at Park
working
Ave,
library.
a working library at Park Ave, and a working library at the middle school. So they have gone through, the librarian, I'm happy to say, at Park Ave, and I'm sure Ms. Pugliafico will update next time she's here. She got some assistance already from our town library. They offered to help and go over and do some weeding of the materials and organize the materials. So they've been working hard in there, getting it up and functioning, doing the same thing. There's a lot of collaboration going on between the two schools, especially at the start of school, the middle school librarian and the Park Ave librarian working together, talking about their needs, looking at the books. So yeah, we're excited to see that actually be a library and be utilized through the students. And they're doing a great job getting it up and running.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's great news,
Yeah, it's exciting. It's good to see.
for sure. So the next item on the agenda is the business manager report. Mrs. Perangeli, are you delivering that again tonight?
I am, seeing it's Lisa's
Maybe it's
first
the
day. I
last
didn't want to
time.
throw her into the mix too much, but I'm going to ask her to jump in because she's been very much participating. She actually, it was her last day at her previous job, and she was back into town yesterday afternoon, and she attended a meeting here with me, a building committee meeting yesterday afternoon, a small meeting. So she's participated today in meetings already for the building. We are scheduled to meet on September 19th. The architects are in the final phase of putting together the construction bid package. So far, we are on schedule with getting that out. We're working through some things. We've also been working with our town partners, going through the process. There's been some back and forth with conservation and planning. We've had some meetings about tweaking the plans, sending the plans down, and just really that's part of fine tuning the project. You know, submitting, we get feedback from them, comments, and then we've got to supply comments back, so it's kind of a back and forth. We've working through our modulars. We met today. I don't know if you want to update about our meeting today that we had in regards to the modulars. Please feel free to jump in.
Yeah, so we're working on a punch list of some outstanding items that need to be done. We're working through some deliverables. There's a pump that's going to be delivered, although we're continuing to do inspections on a daily basis. That pump should be shipping out, I think, in a week or so, and then it should be installed. We're expecting in a couple weeks, I think it's on a Friday, that it'll happen over the weekend. But most of the other punch lists that we're working through are almost completed. There's some cords that need to be run and extended to some smart boards so that the teachers can connect them in. We had a shipment of some additional smart boards that came in as well, and those will get scheduled to be hung up and connected as well. Did I miss anything?
No, I think you got
Okay.
it. Good job. Yeah, so we're moving through it. We're getting it. It's, you know, we thought the modulars, getting them ready for the start of school was a project. It's going to be very different when it becomes inside. Oh, the other thing to mention is we are working through chairlift, like thinking part of our process is, okay, what is it going to look like once we take C-section off and we don't have an elevator? How are we going to get the kids up to the second floor? What is that going to look like? They were originally talking about putting in a chairlift that could go up. It's going to take months. It has to be specially designed. So then we look at putting in a vertical lift. So a vertical lift at between A and B section. How long would that take? So there might be some little navigations that we're going to have to deal with. You know, we might have to go down to C section and if you've gone through Logan Airport, and you've gone through during construction, and you know, sometimes you go down those boarded up aisles and you know there's construction happening on either side, but you don't see it. We might have little paths like that if it comes to that, to the elevator, just so we can get students who are handicapped to the second floor, making sure they can access their classes and things like that. Until we get our vertical lift in place. But we are moving forward with the vertical lift. There's been some conversation over what we were going to install, whether it was going to be a stair lift or a vertical lift. Vertical lift is the best option at this point. So they're working through that, and that's all part of the bid. Those are the kind of conversations we're having now. It's getting down to the fine details of what it's going to look like with that bid package, because they want to get that bid package as accurate as possible when they put it out to bid, because that's what they're going to work off of. That's what the contractors are basing their price off. So if something's not accurate, we don't want that to come back in the end when they start working on the project.
And if I could add, I think the one thing that the OPM is doing that is very good on our behalf is really emphasizing with the architects about how important it is for us to get these drawings as accurate as possible for when we put that bid packet out. But in addition to that, I think the most important thing is as we move through the phases of this project, the one big emphasis point is on what are the interfaces between the sections. So as we move on from one section to the next, what are those plans to make sure that that interface between those, so if pipes need to run or something else needs to be run, how is that going to be laid out so it's an effective transition as we move through those phases? So that's been a pretty big emphasis point that we've been talking about, and I know that those conversations will continue. So I think that's an important aspect of the project.
Absolutely. And that's all I have on the building committee. Are there any questions about the project that we could answer? No?
No.
Okay. Just a regular maintenance update. Happy to report at Bartlett, there's really nothing new to report because we're fixing everything here. So hopefully nothing major breaks in the meantime. We're knocking on wood here that we've got enough to keep us going. At the middle school, we did our beginning of the year mulch, just cleaning up the outside of the grounds, making it look all pretty. They've done such a great job keeping up with it over the years. But it's really nice to give a fresh coat of everything at the beginning of the year. As you know, we had summer and fall. We made it all year long with a cool summer and a wet summer, and then we started school and the 90-degree days came. Our schools fared very well. We did a nice job in the heat. We had one classroom over there that did not, because all of Webster Middle School is air conditioned. So we had one classroom that didn't have air because of a bad valve. That part has been ordered and is being replaced, but it was okay over there. At Park Ave, we had a roof leak at Park Ave, but that since has been repaired under warranty. The library rooftop unit is not working right now, so we do have the technicians come out, and they are awaiting a part for that. We also had the grounds updated. They were cleaned for the start of school, cutting bushes back, and fresh mulch. I'm sure the teachers appreciated being in the modulars for the start of school over here at the high school, because the modulars are nice and air conditioned and they have control over their own rooms. So the 14 classrooms out there were very air. I don't know if you had the benefit of being out there or if you were one of the students in here, because if you were inside, you didn't have the luxury of air conditioning. You had the luxury of box fans to keep the air circulating and moving. Have you been out in the modulars?
Oh, I love them.
Yeah.
They're so nice. Like every single time I go out to them, I'm like so excited because it's like a cool like breath of air. It's so nice. I love them. They're nice.
Very good. And that's kind of been the feedback I've gotten. Just walking through and seeing the kids, I asked them what do they feel, and everybody has been so positive about being out in the modulars. So that's great. But everything is, knock on wood, maintaining in the district, and we're doing a good job, and the guys are doing great, keeping up with everything, being proactive, taking that proactive measure versus being reactive. When we see something, we fix it right away, we fix it appropriately, and so that way we're maintaining our buildings and keeping them up. The next item I have for you is our FY23 budget closeout. In your packet, you should have had a copy of the budget, the FY23. Bottom line is that we are giving approximately $20,000 back to the town this year. We did have some surplus over the year, surplus in positions. There was quite a few salary surveys for positions that we did not fill. We had some utilities we've gone through. It was agreed upon at the end of the year that I believe we informed you that, I know we have, that the modulars came in over budget. We had budgeted 2.7 million. They came in 4.7 million for the modulars when they came in. With the inflation, all the prices are coming back high. We were looking at different ways to fund that overage. We had planned on using some contingency money. We had some surplus funds at the end of the year. We spoke with the town accountant and he agreed. I spoke with Ms. Siddiqui and Mr. Hurton, and we used some of that money to pay for some of the modulars to help the project in the long run with that. So with that said, we have a $20,000 balance that we'll be giving back to the community, and I'm happy that we were able to help out the project a little bit. Some of these savings that we're seeing are just one-time things. This is again that COVID, the federal money that we've had, the ESSER money that we're using, that is going to be going away. So we're not going to have the opportunities like this in the future. So taking advantage of them when we can is a good opportunity, and I'm glad we were able to do that. Do you have any questions about the budget closeout? No? Okay. And then really in transportation, I have to say this was probably one of the smoothest years we've ever had with transportation. I think I've answered maybe 2 calls since the start of school in transportation. The buses are running on time. I haven't had any issues or complaints, and if anything does come up, we'll address it quickly. But I'm really pleased in the way the transportation is running. We have a lot of the same drivers that have returned. They know the kids, they know the routes, and things are happening in a timely manner. So we're answering any questions. Of course, if there's always questions or concerns, they can call the business office. I'm happy to say that they can call Lisa now, and she'll be able to take those questions and concerns, and we'll address them, and we always look to work with our parents whenever possible. So I'm really pleased about the way transportation has started this year. And then in other updates, there was a food service, a grant award that I mentioned last time that I would be bringing information back. We had a grant for the New England Dairy. This was in the amount of $2,304.40. That's an odd amount, isn't it? It's for the Bartlett High School and the middle school, and it was for equipment in order to provide smoothies and healthy foods, to a different type of food to our staff. So I wanted to thank New England Dairy for this grant and this food. And I know the kids are going to enjoy the smoothies that they're going to have. So I just wanted to report that. And then as far as our Munis system upgrade, so we have been working for the past year closely with the town of Webster and updating our Munis financial system. That is the main financial system that we use for all of our accounts payable, accounts receivable, and payroll. Over the Labor Day weekend, August 31st through the end, there was a major upgrade. We used to go from a desktop client to a live web-based, which really changed the format of everything. It looks totally different. It's a little different navigating, but the transition went smoothly. Couldn't be more pleased. Everybody's using it. There's some little bugs here and there that we're working out, but I just would like to thank the town for their collaboration. The town accountant really was a point person on this, Tim Bell. and Greg Roberts' technology were key in this implementation and making sure that we hit our targets and we got it done in a timely manner. And I know it's a little nerve-wracking coming back after a long weekend and having one day to do payroll after a long weekend and entering into a new system, and they were able to do it seamlessly. So I just wanted to give a shout out to the staff who are using the system. I wanted to thank the town, and I'm pleased that we're up and running and no major issues with it. So that's another box checked and another system behind us. So that is what I have for my business manager report, which my last official business manager report.
That's exciting.
It
Lots
is.
going on.
There's a lot going on, yes. All good things, though.
All good things. Very busy, though, I'm sure. Thank you for your updates. Any questions or comments from the committee? No? Okay, well, thank you once again, Mrs. Perangeli. The next item on the agenda is the principal report. Good evening, Mr. Collins.
Good evening. We welcomed back 8 days ago 377 students into 9th through 12th grade. As you heard from Superintendent Perangeli this evening, we welcomed them back with new traffic patterns and new mobile system, our new mobile classroom. And then something else big with that is our dismissal plan. As we addressed the concerns of safety and how we would utilize new spaces and places on campus. So we came back to quite a few changes, and I'll get through those all here. Our students have been greeted every morning in the first 10 days of school by being with an advisory or homeroom teacher so that we could go over handbook, school rules, and daily functions of our new schedule and/or questions and concerns that the students might have in those first days back. We originally started with 3 days on an hour of advisory, then 3 days in 30-minute advisories, and then winding out the 10 days, we are in 15-minute check-ins. So they can go in, see a friendly face, have that trusted adult system in place. We do still have students lost sometimes, reading their schedules, knowing where to go. So we are navigating through that. And we believe that the advisory homeroom teacher connection is vital and key. The students will see those folks throughout the year as we incorporate SEL lessons and things like that. We opened, as you heard, also in the report, 14 new mobile classrooms. So we're really excited, as you heard Mohammed talk about the breath of fresh air that comes from in there. It is air conditioned. And you heard from our business manager, Ms. Lisa, that they are working still on smart boards and things like that, and there are some punch list items. Our teachers have been great who are in there. They're very patient as we are out there. I wanted to tell you that the most important, I think, is there were a lot of changes that came with the mobiles from the conversations from district level leadership and the school building committee into what the functionality and the resourceful way of using those rooms came to be. So we made several changes before we came to our English department, our math department, our world language department, chorus and band all reside in the mobiles. So 13 teachers using 14 classrooms, because we do have a shared space that is a piano and guitar lab. So the mobiles have been home quickly to those folks. And we do have one admin area that currently in phase 1, the administrators float into. So I am out there in week 1, so it is very nice to have air conditioning. So I too will say that that has been great. I do wear a sweater every day in there, but it's okay. It works for me. We are excited because by using these classrooms, every student is enrolled, even our in a 4th math. So each student has the opportunity twice in their schedule to be out there. So we are sharing this beautiful new space. It was a big change, but I think that we've embraced the mobiles and it's a good thing. Safety was a big concern. How are we going to manage getting students to and from the mainland? Sometimes, as I'll say on the radio, they'll hear me say the mainland. Yeah, I'm going back to the mainland. But because the mobiles feel like they were a little far away, but after you've done that walk a lot, they're pretty close. And our high school students, to be honest with you, have not had any issues. We've not had any infractions or any kind of safety concerns. We do have the crosswalks monitored at every change. And of course, our OPM and our architectural folks and stakeholders have given us chains and barriers to block that off every morning, and we've managed that very well, I think. And we've not had any safety concerns, and that was a big concern from the beginning, and we wanted to address that head on first and foremost. And we have been very lucky, and I know we will continue to not have any safety issues there. This is our first year, as you know, using a comprehensive secondary high school block schedule. And if you think back to, this is a strategic change that came as a result of us reviewing data over the years, both our iReady data, which we presented here last spring, and then of course our old former MCAS data and our new recently released MCAS data in terms of how we would address in what is in many cases multiple years of gaps in learning. And that is being done by time on learning and giving teachers back more time and time on learning, and then building in some remedial blocks for students who are really struggling in those areas, in those core areas. So it's been a big adjustment. One, just in the way it prints out in PowerSchool and students not knowing where they're going when they're coming. Two, what it looks like for an 85-minute block. Our teachers were led through a wonderful PD presentation at the back to school with someone that our curriculum director found for us, and Mr. Mangione, and the teachers had a great day with him, and it was really hands-on learning around what it looks like for a teacher coming into the block scheduling for the first time. So I feel very comfortable that our teachers are well equipped, and we're still offering that support every block in our PLCs and common planning time for teachers. And for students, it has been a big shift because some of them have said it's longer blocks. Our ninth graders are used to that because they're coming from literacy and math being a little bit longer at the middle school. So it's been an easy change overall in terms of that. We do have 10 days, as I discussed with advisory. In the 10 days, students have a request time period to change electives in some of those rotations. As you know, our core classes are much needed based on, our mass core and our graduation requirements. So those are a little difficult to change, but we are, of course, taking requests as to change electives if those areas are opened or available to the students. And then lastly, we have prepped and started our beginning of the year benchmarks. Our beginning of the year benchmarks when we come in the spring this year to present data. As you know, on a block schedule, some students don't have English until the spring. So we will do a BOY twice. We will do our beginning of the year benchmark with the students in semester 1 in English. For example, a ninth grade English student will be in English, who is in English now, will be taking their benchmark currently. We started today. And if I am in English in the spring, I will take my benchmark at the first start of the semester, which would be late January. So we have started those beginning of the year benchmarks. In English, when we do come back, you'll see that we this year moved to the Study Sync, which is our ELA curriculum here in Webster for secondary grades 6 through 12. They use the benchmark readiness screener through them. So we are using that for all BHS students in English this year. And then our students will still continue iReady data for math, and they will continue those tests later this week. And then lastly, in other updates, we do have our open house coming this week on the 13th. Any questions? And I meant to stop in those areas, but they kind of all flowed together well, so hopefully it was okay that I put them all there.
Yeah, that was perfect. Thank you for your updates. Any questions or comments from the committee?
Through the chair,
Ms. Millett?
thinking about this as you talked, there is still, I assume, a physical education requirement in high school. So how are you handling physical education classes when that's the section that's being worked on?
So that has been a huge question from architectural meetings where we talked about furniture to school building committee to open house for the class of 2027. Parents were like, well, how are you teaching PE? And very carefully is the answer. And it does, I will tell you, look much like what I envisioned COVID PE looked like here at Bartlett, from what I've gathered in the school system that I worked in previously as well, where we do not have obviously a dress out requirement. So the syllabi for a PE teacher now looks a little different. We do ask students to bring shoes, we change, and we're doing, for example, maybe we won't have a volleyball unit because they can't get to an actual volleyball court, so they can't apply the knowledge, but they would still learn the sport of volleyball. But they might learn table tennis and be actually able to apply it by using space in the cafeteria or space in the breakout area. So we do have 2 PE teachers on staff, and there is one space that is a breakout area just for them. So it's a former classroom that has no desks in it. And then, of course, they have a storage area as well. And very carefully, these 2 ladies have been really great to stretch and bend a lot with it. But from my little investigation and conversations with them, they utilized a lot of materials from when they were in COVID and they didn't have large spaces or they couldn't gather in large spaces. But to ease the mind, like I said in the parent meeting with our freshman orientation, we were able to tell them, hey, this is a great example of how they might do it. Because there are a lot of sports sometimes you don't get through in PE units. Of course, the health-wide lessons are classroom-based, so they are going to look different. And then in the new build, for example, we'll have a yoga room once we're completely done. So they can do a yoga section now based on that breakout space. So they are being very clever. The state is, since we're talking about this, the state is looking at health and PE curriculum, which in Massachusetts hasn't been updated since 1999. So they are very much chomping at the bit what has been released but has not yet been approved. So once our new gym is done after phase 1, they will be able to move back into their space and then be able to adapt that. I won't lie, scheduling has been tough for them because we are adjusting time-wise, and health is only required twice and PE is required every year. So the numbers are a little big there, but we've been able to balance that out too because they now have to fit in one classroom. So it's been a little challenge. So thank you for asking because it gives me an opportunity to lift up those 2 ladies because they have been great. Miss Grandy and Miss Becky Granger have been amazing to really be flexible for our kids and still offer curriculums that might not be big spaces on the football field or on a volleyball court, but they are offering what I think is still rigorous, important curriculum. Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Collins. Thank you for that question, Ms. Millett. Any other questions or comments from the committee? No? Well, once again, Mr. Collins, thank you. I know it's been a Herculean effort to get this school year off the ground, maybe more so than any other.
Yes.
So nice to see you. And the next item on the agenda is the update from our student representative. And joining us this evening is our new student representative, Muhammad Aslam. Nice to be with you this evening. Thanks for being here.
Meet you all guys too again. Okay. So do I just start saying the things? Okay. Is it working? Okay. So I had a really great summer. It was wonderful. I enjoyed the little days that were sunny because it was mostly rainy. I got my driver's license. Excited about that. Drove here today. Coming back to school, I was scared a little bit because I was just like the schedule change and everything. I heard it, but I didn't know how it was gonna look like. But come to find out, it was very easy. I love it. I think like the 4 classes that we have, it feels like a half day almost, and then you're out. But it's not a half day, but it feels like it. So yeah, um, I just want to thank all the teachers that are helping, like that were helping the people, the students that were like outside, confused like where to go. Were doing a really good job helping the students out with that. So I would just want to thank them for that. Okay, and then now for my sports update, a quick note for that. I want to say that there's been a big jump in the sports where like students are joining sports now. I'm excited for that. I even joined a sport. That's crazy. Okay, so the boys soccer team won from with David Prouty. They won 5-2, and then the future games that are going on. There's boys varsity golf will be going to Tantasqua at 3 p.m. on the 13th. Boys varsity for football will be going to Cafe Technical High School on the 15th at 6 p.m. Boys varsity for soccer will be going to Oxbridge High School at 3:30 on the 13th, and the girls volleyball team will be hosting Oxford High School at 4:45. But before that, the JV is playing at 3:30, also on the 13th. I just want to say good luck to all the players and stay hydrated.
Thank you for your updates. What sport did you join, if you don't mind my asking?
I joined volleyball.
Awesome.
It was very fun. We had a game, what was it, on Monday. I think, yeah.
Yeah.
It was very fun.
Great. Good deal. Well, it's great to hear more students getting involved in sports. So,
It's very fun. I'm actually excited about that now too because there's more players
Yeah.
and it's like more opportunity.
yep, great. Well, perfect. Well, thank you for your updates. Any questions or comments from the committee? No? So, Mohammed, you're welcome to stay. If you'd like, there's not a lot left of the meeting, but sometimes at this point in the meeting, our student rep opts to head out. So you're very welcome to stay, but we're not going to be offended if you decide to pack it up. So.
Okay.
And the next item on the agenda under old business is a monthly fundraising update. Just as a reminder, it's the role of the school committee to review fundraising activities, but we don't approve them. Those are done at the building level. There are a bunch of them in here. One is related to PBIS at the middle school, and they're going to be selling candy and spiritware at the basketball games to fund the school store. Bartlett cheerleaders are going to be holding concession stands at the home football games, selling things like pizza and prepackaged snacks and drinks. And that's going to benefit the cheerleading squad. And then it looks like we have a calendar of events for the Park Ave PTO. Lots of things happening. Next one being the coin drive that's just started, by the way, and then an open house coming up on the 21st at Park Ave. And let's see here. And the Park Ave PTO is holding a car wash. I'm not sure if they've held that yet, but if not, that's going to be coming up. It was approved in August. It's a lot here. I don't think I'm going to go through all of them, unless you all want to hear them all. But there's a bunch of other things happening here and some exciting stuff coming up at Park Ave as well. So I encourage everybody to head out to these events and support all these fundraising efforts. They go right back to our students. Are there any questions or comments about all of the fundraising activities going on? Okay, great. The next item on the agenda under new business is the approval of surplus items, miscellaneous textbooks, teacher edition books, and workbooks. I'm glad I didn't pick this one to start reading through
Yes.
because it's also very long. Are there any questions or comments from the committee regarding this very long list of surplus items? Well, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to declare surplus items, including miscellaneous textbooks, teacher edition books, and workbooks, and to direct the business manager to auction off, donate, or otherwise recycle or dispose of these materials in conjunction with the provisions of Mass General Law 30B.
So moved. Second.
There's a motion and a second. Lori, would you please poll the committee?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Motion passes. And the next item on the agenda is the approval of one bilingual ELL paraprofessional at Park Ave Elementary School.
Thank you. So we were asking to approve an additional paraprofessional specifically for ELL at Park Ave. As you can see by the numbers in your packet, we are high numbers, and it's been difficult filling ELL teacher positions. So our hope is that we can have somebody who's working towards their license with some experience that'll work underneath our EL teachers in servicing some of the kids that are coming in. We have the numbers that you're seeing don't include kindergarten yet. So the K students coming in, you can see that were identified in pre-K last year that we would like to service. Our numbers are just increasing. So we are hoping to add that paraprofessional specifically for L, a bilingual paraprofessional for L, to assist us with those students.
Thank you for that. Are there any questions or comments from the committee about this? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve a 1.0 FTE bilingual ELL paraprofessional at Park Ave Elementary School.
So moved. Second.
There's a motion and a second. Lori, would you please poll the committee?
Yes.
Yes, motion passes. The next item on the agenda is a review, transfer, signing of warrants, bills, payroll, and vouchers. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Lori, would you please poll the committee?
Yes.
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 Yes, meeting adjourned. Good night, everyone.